Antigua and Barbuda's fiscal performance for the period January to June 2012 has improved by 42% compared to the same period last year. This just one of the highlights coming out of a press conference for the Ministry of Finance's second quarterly review. More in this report.
Minister of Finance and the Economy Harold Lovell reported on Wednesday that an analysis of revenue performance shows total revenue amounted to $329.8 million, a 3.1% increase over the same period last year. So what has contributed to this improvement in fiscal performance? Mr. Lovell tells us.
Main contributors to this increase were the Antigua and Barbuda sales tax, the ABST, stamp duties, and the personal income tax. Revenue from the ABST amounted to $111.6 million, an increase of $8.5 million over the same period last year. This improvement in revenue from the ABST is attributed to modest improvement in economic activity, increased compliance, and other revenue reform initiatives.
He further reported that on the expenditure side, primary expenditure declined by $1 million from $310 million from the first half of 2011 to $309 million for the first half of 2012.
Primary expenditure includes expenditure on wages and salaries, goods and services, and capital projects, but it excludes interest payments on government debt. Salaries and wages increased by $5 million from $131 million in the first half of 2011 to $136 million in the first half of 2012.
Reporting on the current standing of the country's debt, Minister Lovell noted that total interest payments on government debt remain constant at $35 million for the period under review. However, the finance minister says that while there has been a 50% increase in external interest payments from $6 million to $9 million, domestic interest payments decreased by 10% from $29 million to $26 million when compared to the same period last year. He further explains.
The government's external interest payments have increased due to servicing of Paris Club obligations as well as additional disbursements from the IMF and the Caribbean Development Bank. There was a decline in interest obligations on domestic debt because the government reduced its reliance on overdraft facilities for cash flow management and negotiated further decreases of interest rates on its loans with commercial banks. The debt stock, which includes central government and government guaranteed debt, remains relatively constant at $2.7 billion at the end of June 2012.
In summarizing the country's economic developments, Minister Lovell highlighted that there was a clear sign of improvement in economic activity by the 45% increase in stay-over tourist arrivals from 131,504 for the first half of 2011 to 136,461 for the same period in 2012.
This is due mainly to a 14% growth in tourist arrivals from the United States, our primary source market. There have also been positive signs in the construction sector, driven by the airport expansion project, the expansion at Jumbi Bay Resort, and increased residential construction. The expansion at Jumbi Bay is a $190 million project that started in 2009. The final $60 million worth of work is being undertaken in 2012. The expansion at the airport is a $48 million project that began this year, and the increase in residential construction is driven by the Construct Antigua and Barbuda Initiative, CABI or CABI.
Lovell says the government is very optimistic that the country's economic activity will continue to improve and that they are expecting growth in real output for 2012. Eldin Udell for ABS News.